Hi, this is George Griffith here from Surfside Wellness Center with another installment of GG Perform. Today we're talking about the kettlebell swing. Kettlebell swing is an excellent movement to help condition your metabolically, your cardiovascular. It's really good for what we call the posterior chain muscles, the hamstrings, the glutes. Really good if you want to jump, if you want to run, if you want to sprint, or even if you want to improve your deadlift. Kettlebell swings are a great tool. First thing we're going to teach you about the kettlebell swing is something called a hip hinge. So Jason is going to help us demonstrate what you want with a hip hinge. Just stand to your side, Jason. So we want to make sure that you keep that upper body in the same neutral position. Your spine, your lower back stays in position, your upper back stays in position, and all the movements coming from your hip. So go ahead, Jason, show us that hip hinge. So you see we have the same curve in the low back, same curve in the upper back. Everything's happening here as he sits back, even a little deeper first. All's happening at the hip. Changing the angle here, and then stand up. And again, sit back and stand up. Now, if you're thinking about hip hinging happens naturally if you were to try and give me your best vertical jump. My man Jason has got some good ups here. So you're going to do a vertical jump. Go ahead and jump, Jason. Now, I want you to prepare for your vertical jump and just stay in that bottom position. So you wind up for that jump. See that hip hinge? He sits back. There's no real bend at the knee. Upper body stays in position, and we have that hip hinge. So that's what we want to think about with your kettlebell swing, like you're about to do your best vertical jump. One thing you want to think about is making sure that those shoulders stay active. This hip hinge is going to generate all the force you need to get the kettlebell to start moving. It's almost like you're driving your hips and the momentum is taking the kettlebell the rest of the way. A few pointers first. Make sure you have shoes that are as flat as possible or even go in bare feet. If you're in running shoes or anything with a big thick heel that's got lots of cushioning, it's going to drive you onto the ball of your feet. So you want to be staying back in those heels so you can really sit back and get that hip to hinge. The next thing we want to do is before you actually address the kettlebell, you want to establish contact with the ground because that's where you're generating the force from. So you want to do this thing called grounding. When you get to the kettlebell, you just plant your feet on the floor, make sure you're connected, and then we're going to get ready to get started. Get in position. Before we start, we can either start from one position with the kettlebell behind us so we get that initial swing, or we can start with a little bit of swing to get some momentum before we start to drive those hips. Nice curve in the spine, lower back is fine. Start with a little bit of momentum, and then when you're ready, you start to snap those hips. You can see at the top of the arc, the kettlebell moves a little bit more. That shows you you're doing a good swing. The momentum's carrying the bell up. Sitting back and down, exhaling each time, and then he tames the arc, controls that kettlebell all the way down to the floor. So that's your basic kettlebell swing. Start with a kettlebell that works for you. If it's too light for you, you might find that it's hard to really get the feel of the bell. If it's too heavy, obviously your mechanics are going to change. Try a few, find a kettlebell that works well for you. Start to condition those muscles in the posterior chain, your hamstrings, your glutes. Get better at jumping, get better at sprinting, get better at performing your deadlifts. Until next time, we'll see you. GG Perform, Surfside Wellness Center, 1 Barbados.